Okay, we're going to talk about the plateau. This part drives me crazy because you weigh yourself every day, and it's a lot of work to do the protocol, and you feel really good because you followed everything as close as you could, and then you get on the scale and it doesn't move or it's even up, and you could totally freak out. Over our time and watching so many people do the protocol, this is what I have to say to you. Don't worry. You are going to lose weight. It is going to come off, but it's just not consistent. In fact, if you go back and read Dr. Simeon's protocol, he talks about the weight loss being pretty inconsistent. Much more inconsistent for women than men, and then much more inconsistent towards the second half of the protocol than the first half. A lot of times at first, for most, not all, but most clients, they'll have pretty good steady weight loss the first 7 to 10 days, and then they get into a plateau, which is 2, 3, 4 days of not losing weight. And it's frustrating, but what you need to know is your body is just changing, and your weight, your fat is still being used. So don't panic. Overall, the weight loss does come up. And Tina agrees. That's my dog. Kind of. She's in a plateau, so she's really crabby right now. Anyway, Tina! No barking! Excuse me. So you want to not let the scale run your life, because you can go crazy. And I gave you an article that talks about plateauing and what happens when we're plateauing. It's not that we're not changing our weight, it's just our body's transitioning. People ask me, when do I do an apple day? I would not do an apple day till a 4th plateau day. So if you go 3 days and you haven't lost the 4th day, I would do an apple day. And really all that's doing is helping your body shift fluids, because sometimes that's all a plateau is, your fluids aren't coming off and you're just retaining, and it helps get the fluids off and can spur more weight loss. This is the best way to do an apple day. Go to the grocery store and pick your 6 different apples that are kind of fun. You know, the Jonathan, the Fuji, there's one called the Pink Lady that's pretty divine. And then just try them all. Just kind of eat them every 2 hours or every 3 hours. People say it's not as bad as they thought it would be, and it does usually work. So I wouldn't do an apple day if you just didn't lose weight in one day, because it probably won't do anything and you're going to not ever want to do it again after a while. So just use them only when you need them. Some things that can cause plateaus are for women. If you have a period, it can cause a plateau, and it can be really frustrating. And I'm not sure why. Dr. Simeon said the same thing. It's just mostly fluid retention, and a lot of women will say their weight actually goes up a little bit, a few ounces, and then it kind of stays through their period, and then it drops a little bit and keeps going after it's done. So the best thing to do is just to be steady. If you mentally can't handle watching the scale every day, if you find that you're extremely happy when you lose weight and then really depressed when you don't, I would advise just not weighing very often. Weigh maybe every 4 days. Otherwise, you just kind of go on emotional whirlwind and it's miserable. So just follow the protocol, do what you can do, and don't let the plateaus freak you out. I would guarantee everybody will at least have 1, if not 2. Here's what Dr. Simeon says. On average, if you lose 0.8 pounds a day per injection of the protocol, you had a really good run. For anyone with thyroid issues or a history of thyroid or history of hormone replacement therapy, that average is going to be between 0.6 and 0.8. So I'm not sure. It's not often that we see an actual pound a day in 40 days. That's not common unless my clients are really large. So, and Dr. Simeon said that's not typical either, even though sometimes I think it's advertised that way. About 0.8 a day average is great. And I think that's it on plateaus.